Terrific Tuesday. Guess who's back? It's this guy, repping some Chucky. It's this guy, Sammy the Man McIntyre. We are back. Moving the Chains podcast. This is the show starring this guy. Sammy freaking Darnold won the Super Bowl, baby. And I got 2 words for you. If you don't like it, suck it. Because that's what Sammy Darnold did. Prove the world wrong. Believe in yourself. Good things happen for the most part. And I want to dive into Seattle. Last year, I was going through my videos. I did a Super Bowl prediction and kind of a preview. But I've been kind of busy, kind of just scrambling around. But tonight I'm going to touch on the Super Bowl, which I did not watch. But I went back Monday morning before I went to work, and I watched the whole video, the highlights, 23 minutes of it. So I did have some takeaways from that. I want to touch on that today. The Raiders finally got their coach. I'll touch on that. I am so over the freaking moon about that. Raider Nation, get ready, because I am fired up about this hire. I haven't been this psyched since Gruden came back. So I am fired up. My dad was asking, you excited? I'm like, hell yeah, I am. So let's dive into that Super Bowl. So I want to touch on Seattle first, then I want to get on New England. And I want to say this about John Schneider. Because like I said last year, going back through my archives and what I was going to think about talking about, was this league is about front offices. And, you got the good ones and you got the bad ones. And you can spot dysfunction from a mile away. You can spot the Jets, you can spot the Raiders, which all points toward maybe we're been better, maybe, I don't know. But you can just spot clown shows. And I want to say this about Seattle, because I don't know John Schneider personally. I know people that do know him. The one thing I know about John Schneider was he cut his teeth in Green Bay. And he was around during the Brett Favre MVP run, the 3 that he had. Bucky Brooks, who was an ex-scout who I listen to and trust tremendously when it comes to this kind of stuff. His experiences being in Green Bay, that Bears-Packers rivalry, he knows that really well. He touched on John Schneider and how he cut his teeth. And he was like the airport guy, and he kind of worked his way up, right? A lot of those Green Bay guys worked their way up. John Dorsey, he spotted Terrell Davis for the Broncos. He worked his way up to being a GM for the Kansas City Chiefs, and obviously drafted Baker Mayfield, saw some stuff in him, right? And John Schneider has done a tremendous job. And listen, everybody's talking about Sam Darnold and the comeback. I'm all for it, and I agree with it 100%. Because it's really cool. It's genuine. Everybody loves Sammy. He's a great guy. And I'm a fan of his. And I said the 2 guys that I admire in this league, and I watch every snap of every game, even though I'm not a fan of Seattle, I'm not a fan of the Buccaneers, it's Baker Mayfield, my doppelganger, and Sammy the Man Darnold. Because it just made me happy that he got to a right spot. And a lot of this league is, for a quarterback, it's fit. And listen, there's a lot of guys I'm pulling for. I'm pulling for Cam Ward. I'm pulling for guys like that. But it just comes down to fit. Now, I think Cam Ward's going to work with Brian Daboll. He did it with Daniel Jones. I could see it. But I just don't trust upstairs, So a lot of it comes down to upstairs with these teams and how they're run and how they're operated. And I'm looking at Seattle. And this just goes back to John Schneider. This is a masterclass. I wrote this down today. So he traded Russell Wilson when he was viewed as a top 5 quarterback. And they traded him at Denver, if you guys don't remember that. After the 21 season, right? Goes to Denver 2022. And nailed the picks, right? Got all that draft capital. Got a bunch of guys. Devon Witherspoon and Charles Cross. Fantastic, right? Got to the playoffs against San Francisco. They got blown out. But, got Geno in that trade. Like, okay. And then he... Cam Pete Carroll was kind of going weird, right? He was gonna leave. He's like, I'm going to another place. Pete Carroll has too much power. Like Belichick in New England. And they hired a 36-year-old who we didn't know a lot about. All I remember is he was with the Ravens 2023. He stifled Kyle Shanahan. I remember on that Christmas night game in San Francisco. And then he shut down the Chiefs in that AFC Championship game. He only got 17 points, but the Ravens' offense was mainly the problem with Lamar turning it over. So you saw the talent that Mike McDonald had. And unlike Belichick, and I think Mike McDonald's one of the smartest defensive minds in the league, after that masterclass put on New England, and I'll get to New England in a second, is Mike feels like a likable guy. And I've always said this, likability matters. Like, I'm a likable guy. People like me, you know? And I'm speaking from experience and people around me. And I look at Belichick, he just was so curmudgeon-y and so assholey, and he'd rub people the wrong. He had the Chucky look, and I could be that at times. But Mike kind of has, like, this way about him that just kind of is a vibe. He's, like, millennial, and you just kind of feel it. And I also think, so he did that, and then I'm going down the list of why this is masterclass. And he traded Geno Smith this offseason, which was the right move. DK Metcalf, Terrell Owens, poor man. And he signed Sam Darnold. And then it proved a way for JSN to emerge. Because they had Lockett, they had, I said this a couple years ago, I thought Seattle was kind of like Tampa before they got Brady. A lot of pieces in place, need a left tackle, running backs, defense is solid, young, fast, cheap, right? Good labor. And then, they got rid of those two guys. They paved the way for JSN. He won Offensive Player of the Year. And then he hit on DeMarcus Lawrence from Dallas. And then Cooper Kupp, old pro vet, right? Been there, done that. Kind of was declining, but you saw it, right? And then they nailed those three trades they had. Leonard Williams, Rashid Shaheed mid-season. That was phenomenal. I was like, whoa, what are we doing? And it obviously panned out. And then they got Ernest Jones from the Rams. And I think Tennessee. And I want to say this about Sam Darnold. For all you critics out there, 2 words, suck it. Because the last 30 games for Sam Darnold, 25-5, 246 yards passing per game, 49 touchdowns, 20 interceptions, and a 98.4 quarterback rating. Boom! God, that gets me fired up. It's got me feeling nicey today. So, I just applaud the Seahawks. Now, moving forward, they lost Clint Kubiak, who is my guy. Raiders' new coach, baby! Let's go! I'm so fired up! Let's go! And I'll touch on that later this week. So, I just am so happy for Seattle. And that's a good organization. They're well run. They're well respected. They're kind of like the Ravens and the Packers, kind of coastal, right? We don't think about Seattle, unless you're from the Pacific Northwest and you kind of flip on games. Now, I watch because I'm a Sam Darnold guy. And I've liked Seattle, most of my life. I loved it when they had Russell, and they've been a marquee team, and they've been winning and kicking ass. And, it's not like they had a bad rebuild. Like, they've been like 9 or 10 games. They've just been kind of whatever. And I look now at this team. Now, granted, we got a whole offseason. We got Combine coming up. We got a lot of way to go before 2026. But if I'm looking from a standpoint of division-wise, it's going to come down to you and the Rams again. Because I'm looking around. I got San Francisco. They're kind of smoke and mirrors. Salah left. How's Raheem Morris going to fit in with that defense? Purdy's been banged up. Do they keep Mac Jones? Because he might be gone. A lot of moving parts in San Francisco. Older team. Older roster. And then Arizona. That job is just like the hazard mat sign. It's just not good. It's Arizona. It's hot. It's nice. No. I'm going to touch that shit with the 20-foot pole. So Seattle's kind of got some good things going, and they're young, right? They're young. So, again, they're going to be there. They're going to be there next year. And I think if you're looking at it, predicting next year, cast of characters in the NFC, it's Green Bay. It could be Chicago again. We'll see with Caleb. I don't know. Lions should be a lot better. I like the Drew Petzing hire. Getting him from Arizona, which I thought he did a really nice job with Arizona. The quarterback position was kind of in flux. Jacoby Brissett, a lot of games they functioned better with Jacoby than Kyler. Who knows? So I just think Seattle, they can go on a run here. Now, are they going to get complacent? I don't know. The one thing I like about Seattle is they are like the coastal Green Bay draft develop. They take swings. And that's one of the things I'm not Green Bay for. They don't take a lot of swings. Like Seattle, they take swings. Like, they're like, hey, we overspent for Charlie Whitehurst when John Schneider got there, but we traded for Marshawn Lynch, and we got all these guys, and didn't work out. They didn't stand pat. They're like, you know what? Screw it. Hey, Geno played well enough. We're not good enough. That's not good enough. We're going to do better. And they did with Sam Darnold. And Minnesota, God, they are kicking themselves. Because, man, they had him in the building, and you let him go. I don't know what to say, Minnesota. You had a winning team right there, and you pissed it down your leg. Don't get it, don't understand it, but that's Minnesota's problem. So I'm over the moon with Sam Darnold. I've been a fan of his since USC. Been rooting for him ever since. I'm just proud of him. And the way that the Seattle thing has just transpired, it's a masterclass. And I think John Schneider deserves a lot of credit. And I'm blown away. And then on the flip side, the New England Patriots got absolutely manhandled. And some could say they were frauds. Some of them could say that. I don't know if I did, but I kind of saw the reasons why. But here's the thing with New England. Now, are they going to have it as easy as this year? I do not. You know, they did have the luxury this year. Let's be honest. Cameron Robb and Adam Black, my Patriot friends out there. You didn't play Bo Nix in the AFC Championship game. Patrick Mahomes was out. Lamar, Burrow, Herbert, you played, but what was that about? But the only one thing that got me really fired up watching that game was we beat them first week of the season, the Raiders did. In what was a shitty year for the Raiders. It was so bad. I mean, I tuned out the Raiders this year. I was talking to a buddy of mine, Dan, at the gym. He comes up to me tonight. It was good seeing him, and him and I were shooting the shit, and I just said, look, dude, we turned it off fourth game. I'm like, I'm out. This is terrible. So I do think, looking ahead, New England's going to be good. I think they're going to be really good coming up. And Mike Vrabel and his staff. And the one thing I know about New England, now think about this. Their son, Ron Wolf's kid, Elliot Wolf, is up in Foxborough. He's part of the talent, okay? He's been around his dad. And his dad was around Al Davis. And his dad was around Mike Holmgren. And he rebuilt that Packer thing to new heights and got him to a Super Bowl. And I don't think they ever finished below 500 in his 8-year run there. Got to 2 Super Bowls, won one of them. So he knows talent. He can spot it. But the one thing New England's going to need, and Drake May, listen, let's not bury the kid. Okay? He's 23 years old. This is his first time really playing big games, right? He played in North Carolina, but unless you're from North Carolina and you're from there, you didn't really watch. So, you know, give or take, they're going to be fine. Their receivers are nice. Josh McDaniels, look, he didn't call a shitty game. Seattle's defense ran into a buzzsaw. Peyton Manning has had shitty games. I saw this Super Bowl, the same movie, less than 15 years ago, in 2013 or whatever, doing the math. So I'm not going to bury the kid. Listen, he ran into a buzzsaw. Peyton Manning has had shitty playoff games. Justin Herbert can't even win one yet. Lamar, Josh Allen. This shit's hard, man, and he's a rookie. I mean, I consider this year a full year, because that rookie year, I don't count it. Gerard Mayo was a shit show, whatever. But right now, he's going to be fine. Listen, and I'm a big Will Campbell guy, and I want to point this out. I think the best thing for them moving forward is I kind of look at this like Logan Mankins. When he came out of Fresno State, he was an all-MAC or all-WAC or Pro Bowl tackle, right? Really good player at Fresno State. When it was I think it was the Mountain West at the time. Not what it is now. And then he got to New England. And they moved him to guard, and it was the best thing that ever happened to his career. And Will Campbell, similarly, he was a great left tackle at LSU. I was the biggest fan of his. He was one of my favorites last year, player-wise, going into that draft. And I said, okay. Now, he struggled at left tackle. Now, some of that's the knee. I don't know. It kind of reminded me of Colt Miller. That rookie year, he kind of struggled. And then he got better. And I do think moving forward, if they move him to guard, I think Will Campbell could be really dominant. Because I saw him at LSU move people off the ball. And I think his comp coming out of college was Taylor Decker in that vein. And I do think if they move him to guard, it's fantastic. Now, New England, you're fine. Listen, your division, you got 4 free wins a year. I was talking to my buddy at work today. They had an easy schedule, and they had an easy run this year, and I admit that. But they play who they play on the schedule. You know what I'm saying? And a lot of these teams, they play easy schedules when you go to the Super Bowl, right? Denver did. Carolina had it. Easy. Green Bay. Their run. So I'm not going to beat them up for the schedule, but they got a lot of breaks that, let's be honest, they got it kind of fucking made this year. Denver kind of did. Mahomes was crap. The Raiders were dysfunctional. The Chargers were, 0 Super Bowls. put a jersey, it says Chargers with the logo, rings, 0. Still not that trolling, but whatever. So I think New England's a year away. Their division's kind of in the crapper. Dolphins are shit. They got a lot of work to do. Jets with the Jets. In Buffalo, are we sure about Joe Brady? I don't know. But all I know is with New England is they're not going nowhere. Now, are they going to get back to the Super Bowl? Probably not right away. But they're going to be in the mix. Mike Vrabel's a hell of a coach. You know, they just got outclassed and they ran into a buzzsaw. That's all it was. And this is not man overboard. New England's trash. That's not what this is. Their defense played well enough, and I thought that was how the game was going to go. And then third quarter, they gave out. It happens when your defense on the field so damn much, your offense can't do anything. So, you know, I just think New England's going to be okay. I'm not going to jump the gun on them. They need another draft. They're still in a rebuild, technically, which is scary. So, watch out for New England. I think they're going to be okay. I think this year's draft, they really can double down on getting more skilled players, getting more offensive speed. I think they're going to be okay. And I think that Drake May's still going to get better. Got to clean up the fumbles. I mean, he had 8 of them in the playoffs. Good God, if it ain't for C.J. Stroud. Listen, the 2 best defense he played, he got sacked 11 times. They need to work on that offensive line. He's still a kid. And let's not beat him up, okay? Peyton Manning struggled. Dan Marino, good God, for as great as he was, he went to 1 Super Bowl and lost. He never got back. So this shit's hard. So let's not beat the kid up. New England's going to be fine. So that is all I got for you guys tonight. Just want to give you guys a Super Bowl recap and just glad to be back on here with you guys. Hope you guys are doing well. Terrific Tuesday. Adios. Peace.